sure that no one goes without a nutritious meal during this uncertain time. At 1:30, mark your calendars for this, a local musician known as the Arrest Me Daddy rapper will be in studio, not for a performance, but to answer some questions about how his now viral videos have gained so much attention and why they indeed recently led to him being detained by police. Plus, any minute now, President Donald Trump is set to begin a signing ceremony. He'll be signing an executive order aimed at supporting foster care efforts in the United States. You can see the setup right here for the president to come in the room. This executive order was championed by the First Lady, and when he sits down in the East Room, we will go live for that signing, or if he comes to the podium there, we will go live for that signing. But while we are on standby for that to happen, we want to bring in our reporter Casey Cronus in Broadview. Today, there have been major developments in the legal fights concerning Operation Midway Blitz, the Trump administration's immigration enforcement operation throughout Chicagoland. Casey, one of the federal judges was expected to tour the facility at the center of now months of protest and a lawsuit about what's happening inside. So where do things stand at this point? We lost Casey Cronus' shot. You saw her standing by there, and something went wrong there. But as mentioned, this is just one of several court battles that is going on right now. That judge was expected to tour the facility. We do know that they're supposed to be able to take some pictures, although we're not sure when those pictures will be released. But it'll be our first time really seeing an official take a tour inside of that facility. The facility itself has been around for decades, but since Operation Midway Blitz, no official outside of the Trump administration has been allowed to go inside. There have been many Democrats who have come through the area and have gone in various increments, 2 people, 3 people, to that facility and tried to go inside, and they've all been denied. There were clergy members who tried to go in the facility. They wanted to be able to give communion to the detainees who are inside, and they were denied. And obviously, there's been this ongoing conversation as to it is a processing center. People are supposed to come in and go out to other facilities. How long people have been staying there, whether it's for days, whether it's for weeks, we're just not sure really at this point in time. But what we do know is that a separate lawsuit says that there are inhumane conditions there, that people have said that they aren't getting enough food, that they aren't getting water, that that they have been overcrowded into that facility, that there's very little privacy, even for women who need to go to the restroom, or men who need to go to the restroom, for that matter, anyone who needs to use a facility, that they have not had the privacy to be able to use the restroom by themselves. There have been so many things connected to that particular facility that a lawsuit arose from the conditions there. And the people who were on the stand just days ago said that the conditions are deplorable. Now, this judge is going to go in. The judge will be able to see for his or herself. I believe it's a woman, a female judge, who will go in and be able to see for herself and come back with more information about what she is seeing. Again, photos will be taken. I'm not sure if lawyers will be able to go inside as well with the judge, but at the very least, this is major development that the judge will be able to go in that facility that, again, has been at the center of so many protests really since the beginning of August, and they really got pretty tense in the months of September into October. That several other lawsuits arose because of what's been taking place on the outside. And again, this judge is going in to inspect what's happening on the inside. So many things that are connected to that Broadview ICE processing center that has been there for years, but has really been at the center of debate since Operation Midway Blitz, which is the Trump administration's immigration enforcement operation. This week, there have been several developments in Operation Midway Blitz. We've learned that the commander, Gregory Bavino, Bovino, Commander Gregory Bovino, may have left the area as of now. We don't know whether he's going to be replaced. We are also hearing that some agents may be reassigned to other areas throughout the country. Does that mean that they're ramping down? Does that mean that they will be replaced? We're just not sure right now, but I do believe we have Casey Cronus back to fill us in on what's happening out there today. Casey, are you there?
Hi, Anita. Yes, and right now a judge, plaintiffs, and attorneys for those plaintiffs are inside taking a look at conditions of the Broadview ICE facility. They went inside just after 11 this morning, and this all stems from a class action lawsuit alleging that the conditions inside the processing facility here in Broadview are inhumane and degrading. Some of the conditions outlined in that suit include clogged toilets, lights blasting all night long, nowhere to sleep, people being forced to sleep sitting up, and no contact with attorneys. Now, there are several people as part of this suit. During today's inspection, the attorneys will be able to take photographs and inspect the facilities. Those photos will not be released today, but we do expect to hear more about what they are seeing inside this boarded up facility.
And Casey, I mentioned the fact that there have been protesters out there, and that's, been the center of another suit. Who are you seeing out there today? Is it pretty empty, or do you still see some protesters who are even out there today?
Anita, there's only a handful of protesters out here today. There are more cameras and members of the media than there are protesters. Stuart is panning over so you can take a look there at the group that is here. There's less than a dozen people, and this has been the case all morning. Now, you'll remember that this street was originally blocked off with fencing. Protesters were moved back. That fencing is now gone, but not many people gathered here today. We do see a Cook County Sheriff's vehicle here that's posted up a pretty tall camera just to monitor what's going on here, but not a ton of people out protesting. We will see if that changes as the day goes on.
Yeah, the fencing in and of itself became a lawsuit. And then the protest hours that they have to be out there, I think, between 9 and 6 p.m. And as I mentioned, there are several court battles. You were in court for one of them yesterday. Why don't you, while we have a moment, update us on the Broadview 6?
Yeah, that's right. The Broadview 6, as they've come to be known, are a group of people, several of them elected officials or running for elected seats. They were arrested in September during a protest where the government alleges that they were surrounding a vehicle, banging on that ICE agent's car, trying to injure that agent and impeding him from doing his job. That group of 6 people has been charged with conspiracy to impede an ICE agent and also misdemeanor assault. Yesterday, all 6 of them, with their attorneys, were in federal court for an arraignment and an initial appearance. All of them pleaded not guilty, and their attorneys say they are willing to take that case all the way to trial if they need to. They say, the attorneys that is, say that this is a violation of their right to protest, and they are calling the allegations themselves completely ludicrous.
Yeah, and you mentioned that there was a Cook County Sheriff's deputy, that a vehicle there. That was another development just a few weeks ago. Of course, there were federal agents out doing most of the crowd control for a while before Broadview police actually asked for help from those who were already here.
Yeah, because a few weeks back, really more than a month ago now, there were situations where the protests and crowds were so big. That's back when there was fencing here. They were trying to manage traffic in the area. And at one point, Broadview police were on the ground trying to direct traffic away from the area. But as you know, things got so chaotic, protests escalated. So they have now called in for some backup, some help. Cook County Sheriff's vehicle here just hanging out. They've got a camera posted up here that's on there attached to their vehicle here. So just kind of monitoring the situation. There's a couple other cameras that are posted up in the area just to monitor what's been happening.
Yeah, are we thinking that there's going to be any type of press conference there? I mean, not the judge actually doing it, but any type of press conference there after the judge comes out?
You know, we are hoping that the attorneys, at least for the ACLU, who have been pretty vocal throughout this process, will speak with us after the inspection. This inspection could take several hours. They went in just after 11 this morning. So we are hopeful that we'll hear from the attorneys. I do not think we will hear from the judge in this case, as is expected. But hopefully we hear from the attorneys just to get a better idea. We've obviously heard from the plaintiffs in this case about the conditions that they've alleged, but it'll be really interesting to hear from the attorneys directly about what it looks like inside. And Anita, think about it. They have had over a week to potentially clean things up inside. Have they brought in cots? Have they brought in pillows? I'm curious to hear from the attorneys about what it looks like inside and if any additional improvements have been made since the judge over a week ago ordered conditions to improve inside. So we're really not going to get the same picture that we would have if this inspection happened 4 weeks ago. So I will really be interested to hear what it looks like today.
Yeah, 4 weeks ago or unannounced even. So they definitely did have some lead time there. There was another discussion that I know you were a part of, so I'm not fully putting you on the not throwing you for a loop by asking you this, but there was also the district judge yesterday that issued the ruling that people who have been detained or arrested by ICE and CBP in the last couple of months during Operation Midway Blitz should either go free or be in home confinement.
Exactly. And tomorrow, 13 of those people will have to be released. That has been a judge's order that was announced yesterday. So 13 people will be released yesterday from ICE custody. Now, there are 615 others who might be released in the coming week. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but essentially the government is now having to provide a list to the court of all 615 people and their risk status. Are they high risk? Are they low risk? That will help determine perhaps home confinement, electronic monitoring. But the issue is a lot of those people have now been moved to facilities across the country. Some have even been deported already. So figuring out the logistics of where those people are, that is going to be a challenge.
Absolutely. And, obviously the Trump administration would say they have rounded up the worst of the worst. That was their quote. They've rounded up the worst of the worst. There have been some quotes that maybe only 70% actually of the people who have been detained or arrested during this time actually have criminal records. We don't know who's inside there at the Broadview facility, but we know that there's a full another case about the daycare worker who was arrested at Rayito del Sol, and a judgment was just made even on that worker that she should be released.
Exactly, and she will be released, and I think we're going to see a lot of that where people who have come forward through their attorneys saying that they were wrongfully arrested will be among that group of 615 people. Again, it'll be curious to see where they are. Are they in another state? Most of them are not here at Broadview because Broadview, remember, is not a detention facility but a processing facility where people technically shouldn't be here for more than 12 to 24 hours. Now, we've heard stories of people being held here much longer, but the reality is that the majority of that 615 number are not currently here.
Casey Cronus, thank you so much on doing a great job of keying us in on so many different aspects of Operation Midway Blitz and the moving parts. Thank you so much, and please keep us up to date on what happens when that judge comes out of there. Definitely a lot of people waiting to hear what she has found, what she saw today, and those attorneys.
Will do. Thank you, Anita.
Okay, take care. While we were talking to Casey, President Trump entered the West, or this is the East Wing, to have this signing ceremony. Let's go ahead and take you back there live and listen in.
Foster care children. And shortly, he will sign our Fostering the Future Executive Order. Too many people from foster care community end up homeless, in danger on America's streets. It was 2021 when I developed the idea to establish an impactful platform with an important mission to provide individuals from the foster care community the ability to secure an entry-level job position, and in turn, financial independence. Fostering the Future, a Be Best initiative, provides individuals from the foster care community with technology-based scholarships to attend colleges and universities throughout America. Fostering the Future sets these individuals on their career paths, but more significantly, it equips each scholarship recipient with a fundamental foundation of knowledge that will endure throughout their lifetimes. Permanency for those who embody the fleeting. I applaud the American universities that have joined my mission, institutions like Vanderbilt University, University of Miami, and Villanova University. Following graduation, scholarship recipients from my program are prepared to enter the workforce and ultimately become leading executives. Predictably, they will manage thousands of employees and generate significant value for American communities through job creation, access to healthcare, food security, and other societal benefits. This executive order, fostering the future for American children and families, gives me tremendous pride. It is both empathetic and strategic. It will certainly be impactful. It aims to establish a comprehensive network connecting federal departments and agencies, private sector's businesses, higher learning institutions, and charitable organizations. This will create new educational and employment opportunities countrywide. Our faith-based organizations will continue playing a vital and consequential role. My hope, of course, is that this level of coordinated collaboration will sustain. But today, I call on leadership from these various organizations, including the private sector, to join my effort, rise above the ease of inaction. I predict this small spark today will ignite a profound and lasting nationwide movement. Our united resolve will foster a thriving future filled with compassion and innovation. Together, we will illuminate the pathway for today's foster children to become tomorrow's builders. And tomorrow's builders will foster the future of America's legacy. Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce my husband, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
I think it's very good, especially for someone that speaks 5 languages at least. I think that's pretty amazing. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Yeah, well, thank you, Melania. And our country is truly blessed to have this magnificent and very caring First Lady. They love her. Every time I get up and make a speech, they say, "We want our First Lady." I said, "What the hell? I'm not good enough? I'm not good." But thank you very much. Great job. And it's great the work you do in so many ways. This afternoon, I'm delighted to sign a historic executive order building on the Fostering the Future initiative to make America's foster care system better, fairer, and more effective than ever before. And it's been effective, but it's moving in a very strong direction. All of this has been made possible by Melania's incredible devotion to America's youth. Spends a lot of time on it and loves it, and along with our great Usha, you spend so much time, and what a combination. First Lady, Second Lady. What a combination. Thank you. They do a great job, the two of them. They're amazing women. I want to thank Vice President J.D. Vance and Usha. Thank you very much. Vice President, stand up, Vice President. And he did a big thing today. He's going to be on television tonight with the legendary Sean Hannity, so everybody has to watch. I'm sure CNN loves this advertisement, but he will be. I heard it was a great interview. And Secretary Scott Bessent. Scott, thank you very much. An extremely non-controversial secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But he's right. And Scott Turner, thank you very much. Doing a great job at HUD. And thanks as well to Senator John Husted and Representatives Jason Smith, Darren LaHood, Zach Nunn, and David Schweikert. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, fellas. Great group. We're also joined by countless distinguished leaders in the child welfare advocacy ministry and charitable foundations, as well as so many wonderful young people who have experienced foster care and used their voices to champion needed reforms. And I want to thank everybody for being here. It's an amazing day at the White House. Thank you very much. And right behind me, by the way, in about 2 years from now, we'll use a much bigger room because we had to turn away a lot of people. And it'll be right here. This will be the entrance. That's a knockout paddle. It's called a knockout. It looks pretty nice right now, but it's going to look a lot better in a little while. And we're going to go from this room into a room that seats a few more people, and it's going to be beautiful. But I just noticed I happen to be standing here, Peter, and I thought I might as well get you a shot right now, a nice, beautiful shot at the future entrance to something that's really become very popular, the ballroom. They've wanted it for 150 years, and they're getting it, and they're getting the best. It'll be the best anywhere in the world. Each year, more than 15,000 young people age out of the foster care system, and unfortunately, too many struggle to become self-sufficient. The order I will sign in a few moments will provide vital new resources to help young people transition out of the foster care system and live a very happy and a very successful life, very, very successful. With this order, I'm directing the heads of the key federal departments and agencies to establish a Fostering the Future program in coordination with our wonderful First Lady's office. They're coordinating, and they've already been coordinating for quite some time, and I think I hear it's going really well. You're going to have some, when she gets involved in things, it works, I can tell you that. Under this major new initiative, great American companies and institutions will be signing a pledge to invest in teaching, training, and mentoring America's youth who are transitioning out of the foster care system. This will help provide jobs, education, and personal development opportunities to fantastic young people who truly need and deserve them, and they're going to get them. A terrific example of the impact these programs can have is Eric Alvarez from Omaha, Nebraska, who is with us today. Where's Eric? Where is he? Stand up. Good-looking guy. Good-looking guy. Eric and his siblings were placed in foster care for a year when he was 9. He entered the child welfare system again when he was 15, and today he credits a mentoring and mentorship and work experience program for foster youth with helping him to finish high school and start his adult life. And he did really well in high school, by the way, really a great student, but he starts life on the right foot, right? Wouldn't you say? I mean, I think you better say yes, otherwise I'm in big trouble. Otherwise, I'm all by myself up here, Eric. That would be good. I hear you're doing incredibly. Now, after graduating from the University of Nebraska and interning for Congressman Don Bacon, Eric is pursuing a master's degree at the George Washington University, and he is a cadet in the Air Force ROTC who will be commissioned as an officer upon graduation. And Eric, I just want to say, great job. You've really been outstanding, and I think that's probably why you were chosen out of so many people. You've done a fantastic job. Congratulations. The new initiative we're establishing will also create an opportunity for foster youth to take full responsibility of the federal tax credit scholarship program established by the One Big Beautiful Bill. So many things, tax cuts and regulation cuts, so many things. The biggest ever passed in the history of our country. I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill. I changed the name a little bit to make it even more sublime. But it is, there's so many things in there for everybody. We had a choice. We could have done it in 9 different bills or try for the one, and everybody said, no, let's do it in 9. It'll be easier. Actually, it wouldn't have gotten done. And JD and I and Scott and all of us got together, and we said, let's give it a shot, and we got it passed. And it was an amazing thing, but it's going to help a lot of people. There's never been anything like it. It's in one bill, there's never been anything close. And when you see what's going on with the Democrats, we're lucky we got it passed because we don't have to do anything. All we have to do is implement it now, and we'll be implementing it all over the place. If you think about it, no tax on tips, right? No tax on Social Security, all of the different things, no tax on overtime. You get deductions if you buy a car. You take an interest rate deduction, an interest deduction against your income tax. It's never happened. Nothing like this has really ever been approved to this extent. And so it is one great, big, beautiful bill. But using the tax credit will expand occupational training, education, and financial literacy programs for the foster youth and make it possible for more of them to attend the school of their choice. Choice is a great word for a lot of reasons, but it's a great thing with education. And we'll also create the new Fostering the Future online platform to help young people find the access and really get great housing, very, very important and beautiful housing, health care, and other resources available to foster youth and those transitioning out of foster care. And we think it's going to happen with many, many people, many more than you have right now. Under the Trump administration, we believe that every American child deserves a safe and loving home, and we're determined to support the amazing families who help make that happen. And we have some of those families in the room today, and I just want to thank you all for being in the White House. There is no place like this, and we want to thank you very much for being here. Great families. Thank you very much. Faith-based, thank you. Faith-based nonprofits are the nation's most trusted institutions, interacting with the foster care system and practicing Christians and more. Think of this, more than twice as likely foster care. They'll adopt the general population. They adopt to it so easily. When they get out, they adopt to it just like it's becomes second nature. It's amazing. Yet radical left policies in states nationwide make it much harder, not easier, for those families to open up their homes. But we're working on that. We're dealing with the radical left. It's not easy, but we're winning, and we're winning big. That's why with the order that we're doing today, we're taking the ridiculous woke policies that discriminate against Christians and families of faith. As president, I will always stand by us. We will stand by our country, and we will stand for religious liberty. So important. We stand for religious liberty. The Bible tells us, thank you. Thank you. The Bible tells us that one of the measures of any society is how it cares for vulnerable children and orphans. So important, and it's so big in the Bible. So as we make America great again, we are going to protect American children in foster care, and we're going to ensure that they will never, ever be forgotten. These children will never be forgotten, and they're going to grow up to be unbelievable, strong, smart, wealthy, productive citizens. So once more, I want to thank Melania for the great job she does, not here only just as First Lady. She's a great First Lady, and I want to thank you very much, honey, and the foster families and leaders here today. You're very special people, and we're going to work together, and we're going to have some absolutely incredible results. Thank you all for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Are you ready, everybody? This is it. late to change after. Should we sign it? All right. Susie, do we sign this? Good now. Ask the First Lady to sign yours. Let me sign it like this. Okay.
Okay, we have been listening in there and watching the executive order now being signed that's aimed at bolstering the foster care system here. Specifically, they say this is aimed at expanding opportunities for education, career development, housing, and other resources for young people transitioning from foster care to adulthood. This is a part of the First Lady's Fostering the Future efforts that are a part of her Be Best initiative that started in May of 2018. And this order, again, focusing on supporting foster youth who are transitioning out of the foster care system. So Fostering the Future, which is what it's called, they say will work to secure educational opportunities and scholarships for children in the foster care community. And just a little background here that was given to us about the National Foster Youth Institute. Their data shows that only 50% of foster children finish high school. Only 3% of former foster children get a college degree. The data shows 20% of foster care children become homeless after aging out of the system, and only half will have gainful employment by the age of 24. For doing something today to try to change that. And I always say everything kind of comes back around to the state of Illinois. Yes, there are many people in the room, but you may have heard 16th District Representative Darren LaHood was given a shout out there. He is from Peoria. So we were watching again that executive order being signed for the foster care system in the East Room of the White House, and it's 1:32. We're going to be back after this. All right, welcome back, everyone. It's just about 1:35 right now, and I'm joined by a young man who's now been known as the Arrest Me Daddy rapper. But what is your stage name?
A damn killer.
Okay, all right. Do you mind me saying that your real name is Adam Kelly?
Yeah, my real name is Adam Kelly.
Okay, all right.
Ooh, arrest me, daddy.
Tell me how long you've been doing these videos.
I've been doing these videos for about 2 years. I started posting it 20 times a day 2 years ago.
20 times a day?
20 times a day.
Oh my. Okay, what made you do it? Like, what was the inspiration to do the first one?
Well, I really just wanted to promote my music, so I started posting to promote my music.
Okay, explain how what you do and where Arrest Me Daddy came from that actually goes into your music.
So I was in New York, and that's when I did the first one. It was a police officer, and I was just like, ooh, arrest me, daddy. And then I play my song at the end, like, are you afraid of the grind? And I do the dance.
Okay, and so it got some traction, and therefore you said, okay, let me multiply this.
Yeah, let me multiply it. Whatever I do that goes viral, I just keep doing it.
What's been the reaction?
It's been pretty good most of the time, but I did get detained the other day.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that.
So,
where were you? What happened?
I was on Michigan Avenue. I was getting interviewed by the Sun-Times, and then they wanted to follow me around while I was doing the Arrest Me Daddy. So I did it, and the first one I did, the cop got scared and arrested me.
On the very first one?
On the very first one.
Okay,
yeah.
so have you been arrested before?
Yeah, but like years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was a teenager.
Okay, all right, and you're now how old?
I'm 29.
All right,
Yeah.
so are you...
No criminal record, by the way.
Okay, all right, and there were no charges?
No charges.
From that particular incident, but I do want to ask you about a few things connected to you. Are you concerned that you could interrupt the wrong cop at the wrong time and something really bad happens?
Nah, I think most of them know me by now, so I'm not really scared. I try to stay positive. I don't really move through life with fear.
Okay, all right, but you've done it in places outside of Chicago where a police officer may not know you.
Yeah, but they know me everywhere now. I get like 500 million views a month. And on my TikTok alone, I have 900 million individual viewers.
Yeah. Are you concerned that maybe someone is going to try to copy you and could end up getting hurt or worse?
Yeah, so don't copy me. I do it myself. I don't encourage others to do what I do. Everything I do is my own personal decision. I want everybody to stay safe.
And then I want to ask you about kids. Obviously, an adult could try to copy you, and it's good that you have that message to everyone. But I am a big believer that, you know, kids' first and most influential role model should be their parents. So not every celebrity wants to be a role model, you know, wants to wear that. But what do you say to young men, especially who you know, see you, want to be like you?
So to the people that want to be like me, I say do whatever you feel most passionate about, because that's what I do.
Why the stage name?
The stage name, because I made it when I was a kid, and my name is Adam Kelly, so it was like a play off of my name. Yeah.
But it says killer in there.
Yeah, like killing, you know, the beats, you know.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
like
right,
killing.
that's a good a way of explaining it there. Do you worry that these videos, even though they attract clearly a lot of people, they boost your numbers, your followers, but do you think that people get away from the music itself?
Yeah, they do, but that's a good spot to be in, because my face is bigger than my music. So now whatever I do, people will enjoy it, and they will continue to tap into my music. Like I have a show December 5th at Reggie's in Chicago. We got to sell that out.
Listen, it's no problem you plugging that. You're here, obviously, because of the videos, though, and not the music.
And not the music. Yeah.
So
I'm a household name. My face is known by more people. There's a lot of people that don't even know I do music. So
that doesn't bother you?
Nah, because it's worse places you could be in. They could not know you at all, and then I would be doing a job like I had before.
What was the job you had before?
I was doing, the only job I've ever had is I did Uber Eats, and then like Uber and Lyft, and it was terrible.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. So let's talk a little bit about your background. Tell me where you grew up and how you got into music.
So I grew up in Chicago. I grew up in Roseland. Also lived in Chatham. I also lived in the low end. And then I got into music. I always been into music, but I played sports. So I had a full scholarship to college for baseball.
Wow.
So I was pretty good at baseball. I played on the White Sox Ace team.
Oh, wow.
So shout out the White Sox Ace. That's still like a program. And then I just did music for fun. Like I thought I was gonna be an athlete. So
I mean, clearly you could have been if you had a full ride.
Yeah, and I had workouts for like the Kansas City Royals and like other teams. I played with Gavin Lux too. He was on the Dodgers, but yeah.
So why didn't you take that route?
Because my music started doing well, and then I went on a world tour, and then I was like, I'm probably gonna be like a low draft pick if I do get drafted. And the minors is hard. I know a lot of people that got stuck in the minors, like the minor leagues, and I was like, I feel like I just have music is more me. I feel like.
All right, and you were just gifted in that area as well.
Yeah, gifted in both, I guess. Yeah.
Tell me who your influences are. You said you went on a world tour. Who'd you go on a world tour with?
So that one, I went on tour with Young Lin, and I did like a few of my own tours too. Yeah. And I just got off tour with Chance the Rapper too.
And you're managed by someone who's very close to Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, Taylor Bennett. Shout out Taylor Bennett.
So his brother, for those who may not know.
He also manages Chance too.
Correct. So tell me what advice he's given to you.
Really just do what I'm doing. Just keep doing what I'm doing because it's working.
What about Chance influenced you?
So with Chance, I remember when I was in high school, Chance would do these like pop-ups at the schools and sell tickets and like do pop-ups at stores. So that's kind of what started my new wave that I have now. I started like going to schools and I was performing at the schools for free. And then I went to like Lincoln Park, Kenwood, and then I started doing colleges now. Now when I do colleges, it's like 4,000 people. When I did the first one, it was like 2 or 3 people, and that was like a year ago. So I went from 2 or 3 people a year ago to like 3,000-4,000 people every time I do it now.
Do you intend to continue the videos?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it. And then I want to get more into acting. I want to do a lot of things.
Tell me about some of your goals.
My goals, honestly, to be the biggest person ever on the internet and in real life.
Now, I do want to go back to, you know, your stage name and what we see in Chicago. So you seem so positive, and like there's so many goals and so many good things emanating from you. But obviously, when we look at so many young, especially black men in the city of Chicago, they might not see it as killing beats.
Maybe not. Everybody that knows me does, though. If you meet me in person, I'm always positive. And then I also grew up in Chicago, and it was really just a play on my name. And when I first started, they said my name wasn't marketable. And now I'm the most marketable person on the internet. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly wishing you all the best. I get worried, you know, when you see the interaction with you and police officers. I hope you always are near a police officer who does know you and who understands what you're doing.
Yeah, because some people don't, so it is a risk in it.
Yeah, and you could see how that could go way wrong.
Yeah, just how I got detained the other day.
But it could be worse than that, quite honestly.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah. Do you consider that when you are interacting with them, like whatever it is that you are kind of interrupting?
Yeah, most of the time I'm not interrupting anything, though. They just standing there. But that was the one time I did interrupt them from doing something. But really, everything you do in life is a risk. Somebody had to take a risk for us to all be here. So I feel like life is about risk.
Yeah, and you've taken many. Again, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at AdamKilla, ADAMNKILLA, and then on TikTok, Adam Who They Want, Adam ADAMNWHODEYWANT, and then Live Nation just canceled my LA show, but it's okay. I'm still pulling up November 16th. Catch me outside, free show at the Echoplex. 1822 West Sunset Boulevard, 4 p.m., November 16th.
Now, why was it canceled?
Because they said the ticket sales were low, but they weren't that low. And also my fan base, they buy tickets the same day. I post the address and they come. I just sold out a show in D.C. More than the people came that fit the capacity, so some people couldn't even get in. But some people are afraid of the grind, and then they don't understand because I'm a new thing. So sometimes you got to pop out and show them. So now we're going to show them. We're going to bring thousands of people to their venue that was mad the show was canceled.
Well, I certainly wish you the best. I want you to stay safe and continue to kill the beats.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for being here. It's about 1:45, everyone. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Me, Daddy.
All right, 147, everyone. Thanks for staying with us here online for Chicago Live. We want to move our conversation now to an issue that affects so many different people, maybe more than you even know, and that is food insecurity. Danielle Crowder, Community Health Improvement Director for Franciscan Health, is here to tell us a little bit more about what they are doing to try to help people in a unique way. Thank you so much for your time.
See you.
Good to see you as well. Tell me what's new for you all.
So what's new is preparing for the Thanksgiving holiday, just right around the corner. Our ministry is prepared to distribute over 1,500 Thanksgiving meals across our Northwest Indiana and South Suburban Chicago neighborhoods.
Wow. Tell me where the idea came from to move into mobile health.
Yeah, believe it or not, for us, the mobile distribution model was actually birthed out of our COVID-19 pandemic, and it was the safest and most efficient way to get families in need items. And since then, we've continued that effort. It allows us to efficiently and again safely serve the masses. Of the 5 sites that we have scheduled over the next 2 weeks, we're prepared to serve 300 households at each of them.
Wow, 300 households. And tell me your area that you're going to be serving.
So the first one will kick off on November 17th, and we'll be in Hammond, Indiana, which is in that Northwest Indiana region. On November 18th, we'll be in Crump Point, Indiana. On November 20th, we will be in Michigan City, Indiana. And then last but not least, on November 25th, we'll have 2 mobile distributions in the same day. The morning will take place in Sauk Village, and the afternoon will take place in Chicago Heights.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been with Franciscan Health?
I'm going on 9 years.
9 years. Thank you for what you've been able to do in that time. Tell me how this year compares to years past.
This year, like several others, as we know, several obstacles are on the plate for many of our families. And so this year compares to others because in fidelity to our ministry, it allows us to continue increasing the service in which we're able to provide to the communities that we're privileged to serve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your resources are so needed, quite obviously. Tell me about some other things that you all provide.
In addition to our mobile distributions, we do have Fresh Start Market food pantry locations. And those pantries, again, are across our Northwest Indiana areas. They provide not only all the non-perishable fixings for a household, but we also provide frozen protein and an array of fresh produce. In addition to those operations, we have several programs within those, again, Indiana and Illinois markets aimed at enhancing nutrition education for both our youth as well as the broader family size, including those that deal with chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease.
And you all are working with the Food Bank of Northwest Indiana on this particular mission. Tell me about that collaboration and just the aspect of finding community partners for the work that you all do.
Yeah, without partnership, I would say nothing at all is possible. Everyone brings their own center of expertise to the mission that we're working to reach and enhance, again, for the families across those 2 markets. We've collaborated with the Northwest Indiana Food Bank as well as Respond Now Food Pantry in that South Suburban Chicagoland area for several years, and that partnership continues to deepen and flourish with innovative practices and initiatives for us to deploy to not only our patients, but also their clients as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so much can come from that synergy there. And in terms of other people who may want to help you, who are hearing about what you're doing and want to partner with you as well, what do people need to do?
Reach out to us. Pick up the phone, make a phone call, send an email. You can directly contact our Franciscan Health Foundation, whether you'd like to provide goods, perhaps lend some muscle. I will say many of these events are labor intensive, or you yourself are in need of some help, stop by and we're happy to help you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obviously, we're going into the holidays, which is a part of why you're doing what you're doing. Can you tell me just about the need and how it increases in these last weeks of the year?
Yeah, as we all know, if you have, a large family, any amount of children, small, large, the holidays are stressful and they bring on so much to meet and so much magic to make that we want to ensure that food is one less piece that families have to worry about. We want to ensure that you're able to bring the magic and the fellowship, that compassion and that joy to your Thanksgiving meal table, your Christmas table, and even just your ordinary Thursday night.
So tell me what exactly, when we talk about food that's going to be given out at these different mobile markets, what exactly is going to be given out?
Yeah, that's a great question. So each site is going to be equipped to provide one full turkey or ham. We'll also have corn muffin mix, stuffing, gravy, corn, green beans, peaches, cranberry sauce, macaroni or actual like elbow macaroni noodles. And then we'll also have an array of fresh produce, which includes potatoes, sweet potatoes. We also have onions, carrots, celery, and bunches of greens.
Wow, quite the spread there. Now, what do people need to bring with them if they're coming for these events?
If you come to see us, we just ask that you bring an ID with you so we can check you in. We know that IDs come in various forms, so whatever form of identification you may have, we'll take you on.
Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing for safety purposes, people do need to be in vehicles, not on foot.
Yes, we do ideally prefer for patrons to be in their vehicles. However, we are very much those who want to meet our clientele where they're at, and we do understand that some may bike or some may walk, and we do have special spaces designated for those that are without a vehicle.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much. One, again, for what you do, but also for spending some time with me to tell everyone about these mobile markets. Again, everyone that are coming up November 17th, November 18th, and November 20th. I hope that people who are in need will seek you all out.
Thank you so much for having us and helping us to spread the word. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Best to you and your mission. It's about 1:54 right now. Let's take a quick break and we'll get back to the rocket launch. Welcome back, everyone. 1:56 right now, and we're getting ready for that countdown for the launch. Blue Origin now attempting to launch its second New Glenn rocket from LC-36 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The mission will be carrying NASA's Escapade payload to Mars for a tech demonstration of low-cost interplanetary exploration. The sky is clear. We do anticipate this happening. You see there in just a few seconds. So let's go to the Blue Origin feed and listen in.
Let's light this candle. Go, New Glenn.
T-minus 30
Can't
seconds.
tell me the odds. Can't wait to see this booster back on Earth.
GS1 hydraulics internal. GS1 at flight level. GS2 at flight level. Hold.
All right, as we've seen here, our team has decided to go into a hold at T-minus 20 seconds. Let's wait to learn just a little bit more here.
Auto safing complete.
Thank you again, everybody. If you're just joining us, we are awaiting here NG2, the second mission of New Glenn. We are T-minus 20 seconds. Our team has decided to enter a hold here. We've said it on other webcasts before. We spend years designing this rocket, months building it, months designing the missions. If we need a couple of minutes to make sure that the rocket is ready, that our team is ready, that everything on the range is ready,
that's right,
then we will take that time.
At this moment in time, I do have a statement that says that terminal count abort. The team is currently investigating. Right now, you've got to look inside of GS2. You can see our twin satellites. I believe that's Escapade, correct?
That is Escapade. They're ready for its launch to to space, to Mars. It's going to have to wait just a couple more minutes here, obviously. There you see the base of the rocket, the 7 BE-4 engines.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is NG2. We are at T-minus 20 seconds. We are currently in a hold because we had a terminal count abort. Our team, like I said, is currently investigating. So while everything is getting sorted out, we're going to toss it back over to NG2 on the pad and give you more information as it becomes available to us.
Okay, everyone. Well, what a dramatic situation. We were watching for this rocket launch to take place, and the countdown started. It got to 20 seconds, and then they went into a holding pattern here. Currently, they say that their team is investigating what's going on. Again, this is for the Blue Origin New Glenn rocket there at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. This is actually the third day that they have attempted to launch their rocket here. So they've taken that countdown off of the screen, and that's the only reason why we came back in to kind of give an update on things here. On Sunday, the launch had to be scrubbed due to local weather there in Florida and some technical issues with the launch's site ground support system. Yesterday, Blue Origin had to delay the launch until today due to solar activity that caused the auroras across the country that so many people have been watching at night. But as of just 3 minutes ago, it was all systems a go for this current launch, and they started that countdown. The momentum was building, everyone was getting excited, and they stopped at 20 seconds. So while they continue to investigate what's gone on there, and obviously we're hoping that they will be able to get this rocket off of the ground today. Again, it's supposed to be going this mission carrying NASA's Escapade payload to Mars for a tech demonstration of low-cost interplanetary exploration. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll see where they are then, and if we need to move on with the programming, but we'll cut back in if they start that countdown again. All right, 2:08 right now. Thank you for being here in our 2 o'clock hour. We are still waiting on a possible launch for Blue Origin New Glenn rocket there at Cape Canaveral Space Force Space Station, but they have put it on hold for right now as they are investigating. So we're going to move on with our program, and if we see that countdown go back up on the screen, we will then cut back to see what is to come. But for right now, we told you about a recall recall of infant formula earlier this week, and it's now been expanded. This is for ByHeart Whole Nutrition Infant Formula. The recall now has been expanded to include all lots of the brand's Whole Nutrition Infant Formula. At first, when we told you about it, I believe it was only 2 lots. It has been connected to 15 cases of infant botulism from 12 states, and yes, that does include Illinois. So now the Illinois Department of Public Health is urging parents and guardians to just discontinue use of this brand of powdered infant formula. And I want to bring in a Deputy State Epidemiologist, Connie Austin, to talk a little bit more about where we are with this situation and where we go from here. Thank you for your time.
Yes, a very important issue. Are you?
I'm getting an echo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it again.
Okay, my name is Connie Austin, and I'm here to talk to you today about a very important issue for parents with infants. There is a recall on the ByHeart infant formula, and the reason for this is that there have been 15 infants across the U.S. in 12 states that have taken in this formula and then have developed infant botulism, which is a very serious disease. So we want parents to be aware right now, you know, if you have ByHeart in your house, you want to make sure you put a do not use on it, and you can dispose of it in the trash, or you could store it up high in a cabinet in case your infant were to develop this botulism. Then you would might need it for testing. So the big message is for parents. I know some parents are probably very worried if they use this product. Is that first of all, it's a very rare disease, so that's good news. And second of all, there is actually a good treatment for this disease. So if an infant were to develop symptoms, the doctor can consult with the California Infant Botulism Program, and they can just send the treatment to that doctor. So that's very reassuring that we do have a good treatment. So what parents should do if they have fed this infant formula to their baby is to watch for 30 days after the last time they fed this formula. They should watch them for any symptoms of botulism. And these symptoms are available on websites, but also it's just a change in facial expression, difficulty in the infant holding its head up, and various decreases, like I said, in facial expression, poor feeding, and difficulty swallowing. So if you should see this in your infant who has had this formula, you need to call your doctor and make sure you say, I have used this ByHeart formula with this infant, and here are the symptoms I'm seeing, and they will then guide you as to what your next step should be. So those are the important things. In Illinois, we have had 2 cases. One is confirmed and one is pending confirmation by laboratories. So I really hope that parents who have infants check what formula they're using, make sure they no longer use the ByHeart formula, and then, you know, label it do not use if they throw it away in the trash, or if they want to keep it just in case and put it up on a high shelf. Now, some people have said, well, what can I give my infant a preventive treatment? No, there is not a preventive treatment. So it's mainly monitoring your child and making sure they stay okay. And if not, call your doctor. And again, there is a good treatment available.
Yeah, and I'm seeing here that testing isn't effective until symptoms are actually present. But of course, you know, if a parent hears that this is happening, they may want to, even if they're not seeing a symptom, say, oh, I'm taking my child in. But you're saying not to do that, to wait for something to happen.
Correct. There's no testing that you can do right now before any symptoms are available to see if your child has been affected. You need to wait and see if symptoms develop. And it's a very, complicated test to run. So we only want to run it on infants that really have symptoms of botulism, and the doctor thinks that is what they have.
Mm-hmm. When you say a complicated test, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so they have to send in serum from the baby. It has to go to, in Illinois, it would go to an Ohio lab. And they have to do various testing, including injecting it into mice and watching if the mice die, and then taking some of the samples from the mice to do additional testing. It's a very prolonged process. So if the infant does need to be treated, then we would want to do that before any test results were back. But again, only if they have, symptoms of botulism. Mm-hmm. So it's a very worrisome time, for parents, but just so they know, again, there's a good treatment. It is, it's very rare, so it's unlikely that they would develop botulism, but just to monitor them to be sure.
Yeah, and so if your child does have this infant botulism, how long does it take to kind of run its course, and how bad can things get in that time?
Yes, it is. Most infants, actually all infants I know of who have had infant botulism are hospitalized, so they're very monitored very carefully. The disease can result in paralysis, so it can move down the body. But if the treatment is given quickly, then the infant generally rebounds and is doing much better. But it can take weeks for that process. So that's why we do want parents to be very sure not to use ByHeart formula right now. This is not something they want to be giving their baby.
How concerned are you that this could be a bigger issue than just ByHeart?
Well, right now, the infants that have infant botulism, the parents are interviewed for any child that has botulism, and they're asked about what infant formula they use. Also, another thing is you should never give your baby honey. We have not seen any of these children having received honey. They have all received this ByHeart formula. So that is why we're focused very much on this particular formula.
Okay, and then what actually causes the botulism, or what causes the issue in the formula?
So the formula probably has Clostridium botulinum, which is the bacteria that causes this. The baby ingests that, and then the bacteria multiplies and begins to produce a toxin, and the toxin then affects the baby in these various ways that I've mentioned as far as symptoms. So it's the bacteria multiplying inside the infant in their GI tract.
But is the bacteria in there because it sat out too long, or there was some cross-contamination? What causes this in the formula?
Yeah, and that's what FDA is working on now. They are going out to the plants that make this. They are investigating carefully to figure out how this formula became a problem for infant botulism. So that issue is still pending FDA's investigation.
Mm-hmm. And so how long does the FDA take to investigate these types of things?
Yeah, it's just going to depend on how long, again, the testing takes a long time. So if they're doing some testing, that's going to take a while. But, it's probably going to be weeks at least until they figure out what might have happened.
A lot of parents will see something like this and say, oh no, I'm not doing infant formula. I need to go a different direction or make it myself. I remember there was another issue before and people said, I'm going to make it myself. Is that the answer?
No, I mean, this is the only formula that has been implicated in this infant botulism outbreak. So I would definitely focus on not using ByHeart products. But the other products have not been implicated.
Mm-hmm. But if they're worried now about this possibly, because we don't know what caused it in this. So, if you have an infant at home and you see this and you're thinking, well, all right, well, that's for ByHeart, but is what I have safe, and should I even trust it?
Yeah, and again, they have not seen it. When the parents answer the question about what infant formula their children have been on, that is not, no other formula has come up as repeatedly, as this ByHeart formula. So that is why CDC and FDA are both focusing on ByHeart. So that is the one that we want parents to avoid, not any other particular infant formula.
Mm-hmm. And have you seen anything like this before?
No, we have not had any other outbreaks of infant botulism in Illinois, for the last 25 years. So it's very uncommon for this to happen, and it's a very rare disease. We typically only have 1 to 4 cases every year. So it's just unusual for this to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, my thoughts and prayers, obviously, for the families of the children who are affected already. And I hope that everyone will heed your words and throw out that product so that we don't have an increase of cases in our state. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your expertise.
Yes, thank you.
Connie Austin. All right. So as we were speaking with Connie, who is a deputy state epidemiologist for the Illinois Department of Public Health, the timeline, the countdown for the Blue Origin New Glenn rocket was started back up. You can see right there, we're looking at about 26 minutes now. Yes, they stopped it at 20 seconds before. They were doing an investigation, trying to get this rocket up into the air today and to Mars and beyond. But now we are sitting at just over 26 minutes as they've restarted it. Hopefully, they have found whatever the issue was that caused them to put it in a holding pattern. And again, as soon as we kind of get down into the seconds, we will go back to the feed live and listen in and hopefully catch a live rocket launch. But let's take a quick break for now. 2:23 right now. We are still waiting on that rocket launch. We're hoping it's going to happen here, but it's kind of been off and on with this timing. It's stopped and started and stopped and started. We're sitting at around 21 minutes now on the new clock here for the Blue Origin New Glenn rocket launch at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Again, this is expected to happen in about 21 minutes. We'll go there, listen into the feed just as soon as we get into the seconds. But let's take you to the big board, another area that's been up and down and up and down over the last several days here. We have seen, at times stocks were soaring, and at times stocks have taken a great dip, and that's what it looks like right now. A lot of red on the screen. This time yesterday it was all green, and we've seen mixed reviews earlier in the week. So we've kind of been all over the place here, just kind of looking at the outlook at it as we're down like 800 points at the moment for the Dow Jones. Stocks apparently retreating today with some technology stocks coming under pressure. Investors also growing pessimistic about the interest rate outlook. That is very interesting, the timing of that. But just to go over this, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, again, sitting at about 800 points down right now, or 1.5%. The S&P 500 shed 1.7%. Saw some notable declines in the communication sector. Let's see here. We're also seeing that the NASDAQ composite pulled back 2.4%. So again, there are multiple different things going on. There's what I'm seeing is a sudden change in rate cut expectations that are weighing on equities. The markets were last pricing in more than 49% of a chance that the data-dependent Federal Reserve will indeed slash its benchmark overnight borrowing rate by 1/4 percentage point at its last meeting of the year in December. There's been so much conversation about whether that would happen. At one point in September, there was a question, or in August, there was a question as to whether there would be any rate cuts moving into the latter portion of the year. Then we did get a rate cut coming up in September. But at that point in time, the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, said he really was not sure as to whether we would get another rate cut in December, which would be the last one for the year. And so now there's some expectation that that very well may not happen. Also, they're saying here that the central bank has been kind of flying blind in the midst of the government shutdown. Obviously, there was movement in that as well, as we saw overnight from Washington. The House has now passed a very similar measure to what the Senate had and what they passed on Monday. So we could be seeing the end of this. It still has to go before the president, or it did last night. Went before the president. He signed it last night. That was the final move there, but there are several different things. If you think about the cuts to SNAP that took place during the government shutdown, that's not going to come back immediately. If you think about the issues to air traffic and travel, that's not going to come back immediately either. So there are several things that still have lasting impacts that really won't turn around immediately just because the government shutdown is ending. So that's weighing on it as well here, seeing that without some key economic reports, such as the October jobs report and the inflation data, that we're just seeing things go down in terms of stocks today. So, I'm seeing that Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary, has said that some reports may never be released, and that the shutdown could lower fourth quarter economic growth by up to 2 percentage points. So most economists are expecting a minimal impact to the U.S. GDP in the long run, but for right now, we've seen a lot of red on the screen. That's where things stand at the moment. Obviously, things could turn around before the day is over, but that is a lot of red on your screen, and it's continued to rise just in the time period that I've been speaking to you about what's going on to the Dow Jones Industrial, the NASDAQ, and also the S&P. So it's 2:28 right now. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to see what's happening with this rocket launch we're waiting on and how close we're getting to hopefully seeing one live. And we'll also move on with our programming if they're not quite ready, but we're sitting at 17 minutes and another hold. I'm so sorry. Well, it's not my fault, but I'm still sorry. 17 minutes now. They have another hold. So let's go ahead and take a break. And I want to get your questions for an upcoming conversation. We're going to talk about this possibility of stimulus checks. Obviously, so many people concerned about their household incomes, and we have seen over the last several days, especially with the shutdown and the cuts that have happened, this conversation about the possibility of tariff checks coming into motion and more steam kind of getting behind that, especially as we go into the latter portion of the year. We're going to bring in senior economic analyst with Bankrate, Mark Hamrick, in just a bit, and so I want your questions. Some of you have already started to weigh in. We want more questions from those of you all who are asking about the possibility of stimulus checks, what this would do. This is one of the things that President Trump actually campaigned on, the possibility of bringing more stimulus checks to people. We saw them during COVID. That was one of the things that got brought up quite often when he was running for a second term last year. So will we get another round of stimulus checks? What exactly would that look like? How would the economy kind of ebb and flow as a result of them? Ask your questions. We want to get more of your questions than mine. So when we bring in senior economic analyst Mark Hamrick, I hope that we have more of your questions to pose to him. Let's take a quick break, and hopefully we'll get to that and your questions soon. 2:32 right now, and Mark Hamrick, senior economic analyst with Bankrate, is standing by as we've had rumors circulating online that the federal government would indeed be issuing new stimulus checks before the end of the year. But Congress has not passed any type of legislation authorizing those payments. In fact, Congress just got back in session yesterday, and of course, they had to reopen the government before anything can happen. So, Mark, I've asked people to kind of pose some questions for you. I'm going to throw in a few questions, and I hope you'll have some answers for us about what's going on. Tell us first and foremost where things stand with these, even the possibility of new stimulus checks.
Good to be with you. I think the chances of this happening in the immediate future are extremely low. This has been another true social thread that hasn't had much to go along with it. So if you're waiting for this to put food on your table, I think you're going to have to wait a while longer. Let's acknowledge the fact that even if this were a prudent idea at the moment, Congress can barely tie its shoes right now. And, that's why we just had the longest federal government shutdown in history. Is there going to be much other meaningful legislation passed by Congress? I wouldn't bet the House on that. So we'll see what happens. But typically, you would have a stimulus check of this type sent along during the time when there was a recession. That happened in 2020. Then candidate Trump campaigned on that idea back then, but this is not an idea that has either broad bipartisan support or even has support within the Republican Party. Why? Because we're dealing with massive federal debt and deficits, and yes, the tariffs are bringing in revenue, but the other part of that is they are undergoing a Supreme Court challenge even as we speak, so we don't know about the sustainability of all of those revenues. But as you said, the president is not a king. The president requires the Congress, which holds the power of the purse, to pass legislation. No indication that's going to happen anytime soon.
The power of the purse. So a couple of questions for you right now. Dove says, if we get a stimulus check, if you pose the fact that it's a big if, but if we were to get a stimulus check, do we have to pay taxes on it?
Well, that would be in the purview of the Congress to make that decision. Typically, any income you get and a check from the federal government in the form of, for example, a tax refund is not counted as income. You don't have to get taxed twice on that per se. But I would expect that, and again, it's capital letters with 3 lines under it, IF. If that were to happen, my guess is that Congress would say, no, you should not be taxed on that. But the problem is that the assumption itself isn't backed by what we expect to happen in the near term.
Yeah. And here's another question. They're asking, wouldn't this cost more than the tariffs have brought in?
It's a good question. So that certainly is a question that has been asked in any number of different quarters and by, let's say, nonpartisan, nonprofit groups that monitor the federal budget and, of course, the deficit. And, it depends on, for example, who gets it. So I believe that the president said that he saw it as an option for so-called low and middle income Americans. So, how you define that, the devil's in the details. But let's say it goes out to 150 million Americans. You do the math on that. Obviously, that's $300 billion. That's roughly parallel to what has been estimated that the tariffs have brought in so far. But let's remember, the Supreme Court could knock this down, at least a part of it. One of the mechanisms that was used to collect the tariffs, so-called IEPA, is the legislation, long-standing for decades in Washington, used for other things. And then the question would be, does the federal government, if it were knocked down or held to be unlawful, would the federal government then owe refunds to those who paid the tariff revenues? But all of that is very hypothetical. So what I would say is let's see, first of all, whether it gains any momentum in Congress. And then as part of that, the question would be who becomes eligible. And if you think that you would be in a low or middle income class or income group, then you might be more in line to get that if it were to happen.
So in that post from Truth Social, President Trump, of course, defended this idea of the possibility, the proposal for possible stimulus checks or tariff checks, and defending the tariffs themselves here, saying that the U.S. is the richest and the most respected nation with low inflation, a record stock market, and strong 401k gains. He pledged to begin paying down the country's $37 trillion national debt, adding that leftover funds from dividend payments would go toward the balance. Do you even see how this math could math?
No, the math is very poor. And there are a bunch of things happening in that aren't related to one another. You can't do both, right? If you're seeing the tariffs as a primary source of revenue for the federal government, you don't say, oh, by the way, Americans, we're going to give you all that revenue back, and we're going to, be paying down the debt and deficits at the same time. The president was the primary advocate for the tax cut, the so-called big beautiful bill that has done further damage to debt and deficits. And so the reality is that he has not been an advocate for fiscal responsibility or prudent stewardship of the nation's finances. The problem for all of us as Americans is those spokespersons or stewards have been few and far between. Essentially, members of both parties, going back to, let's say, the COVID recession and then the rebound, there was a lot of money being thrown around by Washington, and it was hard to find anyone it was hard to find a majority in the Congress that was attentive to the notions of debt and deficits being problems. And these are issues that current and future generations are going to have to foot the bill for.
Yeah, and of course, even the notion of the possibility of tariff checks received so much attention. What do you think that says about the current state of the American public?
Well, that's probably the best point of all in the sense of the sensibility of your great question. And that is, it shows the desperation and need on the part of Americans to be relieved of a number of things, inflation and elevated prices being part of that. But we've also, here at Bankrate, been talking a lot with people about the notion of this so-called 50-year mortgage, which is broadly being batted down as a bad idea because you effectively become a renter over 40 of those 50 years and don't gain much equity in the home. All of that speaks to the same issue, and that is the president came to office campaigning as someone who would alleviate the pressures that Americans have been feeling with elevated prices and inflation. And the reality is that as we speak, by the latest measure, inflation's up 3% year over year. Many people, 40%, told Bankrate have not had a pay raise over the past year or so. And so they're waiting for the president to deliver. And he's been throwing these things out there and also batting down the notion that there is any affordability issues at all. And I would counsel him, if he were to ask, and of course he's not, that this is the same problem Joe Biden ran into in the sense of telling people it's not a problem. People have their lived experiences, and we should not be in the business of telling them what their experience is and saying, oh, by the way, inflation is not a problem, when many Americans are battling against that.
Yeah, and so when scammers sense desperation, usually they come up with some type of way to capitalize on that. Are you already seeing or warning about the possibility of, hey, if this conversation is growing, there are people over here saying, oh, we could probably get people to think, oh, it's happening, I'm sending you something.
I could easily see this being a pathway for high-tech thieves to send people text messages, whatever they might be, trying to lure them into the idea of all you need to do is click on this toxic link where they may steal your personal information and essentially steal your money or access to your funds and try to lure people into that. So, you know, that's the old, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And that's why people should try to stay tuned to the news like here to find out what's actually happening. And we're here to tell you that there's nothing happening with this idea right now other than a lot of words being spilled.
Okay. Thank you so much. Always appreciate having you here. You say it like it is. Tell it like it is. Mark Hamrick, Senior Economic Analyst with Bankrate. Appreciate your time as always.
Thank you so much.
All right. 2:41 right now. Let's take a look at that countdown clock for Blue Origin. I promise when we get to the 3 o'clock hour, I'll only let you know if it actually happens. But we're sitting at 13 minutes now. It went into a holding pattern again, just so you know, if you were, counting and you're like, wait, that's not it. Yeah, it went into a holding pattern again, but you can see it is moving. We are at 13 minutes now before the expected rocket launch for Blue Origin's New Glenn from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. Again, when it gets into the seconds, we're just going to take that feed and we're going to listen in and we're going to hope that we get a rocket launch live. But for now, we're sitting at just under 13 minutes before the expected launch of the Blue Origin New Glenn. We'll be right back. Just about 2:45, everyone, and we always love to highlight great things that are happening here around Chicago. And the Dovetail Project, which was headquartered right here, is celebrating 16 years. It's one of the nation's leading fatherhood organizations, and going into their next chapter of existence, they had a big announcement. Want to go ahead and bring in their founder, Sheldon Smith, to talk a little bit more about it. Sheldon, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me today.
I am looking forward to hearing about this big announcement. You can tell me what it is right now, right?
Yeah, I can. So the Dovetail Project is officially 16 years old. We've just rolled out our new hub of fatherhood, where fathers from across the city of Chicago, from Rogers Park to Roseland, can sign up to get help and support no matter their age, background, or where they come from. And so we're so excited to bring our new hub to life to really support dads all across our city.
Oh, give me more details. What is it going to look like? What is it going to, how many people will it help?
Well, so for us, the Dovetail Project started off serving young dads 17 to 24 years old. And for many years, we've heard from dads 25 and older who need help and support. And then we see in the maternal and infant health space that new and expecting fathers at times get nervous. And so we've built this new ecosystem, which is a holistic view to center our model around dads and just ensure that they could gain access to things like housing, employment, essential goods, and any other supports that they may need, such as employment that could help to transform their lives.
I think this is absolutely phenomenal. Tell me a little bit about the transformation that you all have been able to bring to Chicago over the last 16 years.
Yeah, I'm so excited. When I think about the Dovetail Project and us starting with just 9 students 16 years ago, and today, on behalf of our city, we're serving hundreds and thousands of families in need. And so this important work, when we think about fatherhood and dads, isn't normally talked about until the month of June. But at the Dovetail Project, every day is Father's Day. And so for us to launch our new hub and to be able to support all fathers across our city is a major momentum moment for us and for our city. And we feel that this is the greatest solution to many of the problems that we see across our city, is being able to strengthen and empower fathers and doing it the Dovetail Project way.
Yeah, you have been recognized as a 30 under 30 honoree for Forbes, a CNN hero, a Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award recipient. I'm just seeing here, you were also recognized by your work for the Obama Foundation. I mean, I could go on and on here. Tell me how it feels to be a part of the solution personally.
Well, I would tell you, no great deed is done alone. This is our team, our staff, the leadership of our board, and I'm just grateful to be the founder with the vision that continues to think about ways that we can shape and strengthen the work. And so I'm grateful for the accolades, but I feel like the work is, there's still more work to be done. And one of the things I say every day is, hey, today I'll be saving the world, right? So we are so hopeful for what's about to take place for thousands of fathers across the city of Chicago who need help and support.
Why is it so needed in Chicago?
Well, I would say it's needed. That's an excellent question. I would say the work of fatherhood is needed across the country. When we think about dads and fatherhood and programming designed to help fathers, it's few and far in between. But particularly for our city, the city of Chicago is this great dynamic city that believes in social innovation and programming like ours. And when we think about dads gaining help and support and that trickling down to impact the next generation of children, the outcomes that, a child will complete high school and not be involved in teen pregnancy or not end up incarcerated, right? And so in protecting our next generation of children, the greatest solution is fatherhood.
Yeah, and so you've taken this step this week. What other goals do you have?
And so, for our future, the Dovetail Project is working on our flagship for fatherhood, right? A location that would allow us to continue to engage fathers in real time and to continue to educate our fathers. You know, this hub of having an agency where dads can come to and belong at any time is what we're looking to build and shift the field right here in our city, and just continue to impact families. So our Fatherhood Relief Fund continues to serve families, and we've impacted over 14,000 families through that relief fund. Next Saturday, we'll be giving away turkeys and trees for our 9th annual giveaway. And in 2 weeks after that, we'll be celebrating our 30th graduation ceremony with all of our alumni and current students coming to graduate in front of their families and just take the moment in.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, and if people want to help you all out in what you're doing, what do we need to do?
If someone would love to get involved at a corporation, we're asking corporations and colleagues to sign up on the Dovetail Project website, where they can work with us to give more goods to the neighborhood. Or if they would just like to make a simple contribution, they can go to our website, thedovetailproject.org, and get involved. But we're grateful for our city, and we're grateful for you all telling our story. So thank you, Fox.
Absolutely. And Sheldon, where do people need to go for that turkey next week?
It will be at 7300 South Cottage Grove, and it's turkey and trees. So we give out Christmas trees and turkeys to families every year, and this is our 9th annual, and we're looking forward to having an amazing time at our headquarter office at 7300 South Cottage Grove.
I know it's going to be wonderful, and thank you so much for what you do on a regular basis. You continue to make us proud.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. 2:51, everyone. We'll be right back, hopefully with a rocket launch. Okay, everyone, it's 2:53 right now. You know what we are trying to do. We want to see a rocket launch live, and hopefully it's going to happen today, everybody. We believe it's going to happen today. We are just over 1 minute until this launch is expected to happen. We've watched this clock. When we initially went to it, it went all the way down to 20 seconds before something went wrong. So we're not fully in the clear just yet. But when we came back to it, they started it back up at 30 minutes, and we are down to less than a minute now, again, for the Blue Origin New Glenn rocket launch at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. Let's listen in for a bit. Hopefully, we're able to get all the way down to an actual launch happening live.
I love hearing all those sounds.
You hear the power up.
You certainly do.
And with that,
you'll see that water any second now.
Let's turn it over to launch control. Let's go, New Glenn.
GS1 hydraulics internal.
Never tell me
GS1
the
at flight
odds.
level. GS2 at flight level. Autopilot enabled. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift up, effective. First motion. New Glenn has cleared the tower.
New Glenn has cleared the tower!
Go, way to go!
Pushing 7 good engines. 30 seconds into flight. Engine operating parameters continue to look good at full thrust. Body rate response to nominal. 40 seconds in. End of low, brakes now level. 50 seconds into flight. Continue to see good engine operating parameters. All set for
a clean burn. We're coming up here on max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. This is the hardest point on the vehicle when it comes to the pressures and the speed. We want to see this rocket punch through that max Q.
Good TDC control, good MR control. 1 minute, 15 seconds in. Now passing Mach 1, New Glenn is now supersonic.
Supersonic!
And we can hear the
1 minute, 30 seconds. Engine operating parameters continue to look good at full thrust. Max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. One minute, 45 seconds in.
We're past max
All
Q.
7
The
V4
robot
engines
is
continue to
real.
look good. Body rate nominal. Seeing good control on MR and TDC. Acceleration profile nominal. Now passing 2 minutes into flight.
BE4 is unreal.
One minute remaining in boost phase.
All right, 1 minute remaining in boost phase. You heard our team say. Then we'll hit MECO, main engine cutoff. That's going to lead to a sequence of events. We will separate the first stage from the second, and that's when the first stage is going to begin its journey back home. We're going to see if we can land the booster separately. Of course, we will get the second stage off and going with the NASA Escapade satellites on board on their way to Mars.
Trajectory continues to look good, seeing good data quality coming down from the vehicle. Body rate response
Great to hear
nominal.
that. Good data quality.
All 7 engines continue
Looking
to look
nominal. Next up, MECO, which is main engine cutoff. The cheers are real. You can hear them all the way in here.
And we have MECO.
And we have MECO.
And we have good stage set.
We have good stage separation.
And we have ignition on stage 2. Both engine parameters look good.
Ignition.
Oh, you see the 2 rockets there.
Body rate stamping out nicely. Both B3U engines look good at high thrust set point. Body rate responses look good. 3 minutes, 43 seconds into flight.
Look at that rear.
We have good indication of payload fairing jettison. Both B3U engines continue to look good. Body rate response is nominal. Seeing good data coming down from both stages.
Great data. We're 4 minutes into NG2.
And you saw
Tank
their
pressure response
spectacular
on
view
GS2 look
from
good.
down from our GS2.
Responses continue to look good.
This
is a 9.5-minute burn for GS2. 4 minutes, 25 seconds into flight.
Wow. All right, at 9 minutes is when we're expecting the first stage to touch down on Jacqueline.
Approximately 2 minutes remaining in the GS1 coast.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us for NG2. So far, a nominal mission.
GS2 is now 320 kilometers downrange, traveling at 2.8 kilometers per second. Trajectory continues to look good on both stages.
Clean separation, clean fairing
right down the middle of the range
jettison.
track. Engine operating parameters on GS2 look good.
It sounds like our GS2 is having a beautiful ride. The NASA Escapade satellites are exposed to space right now. And we've got GS1 coming down for landing
GS2 body
at
rate's
T
nominal.
plus 9 minutes.
One minute remaining in the GS1 coast. Continue to see good data coming down from both GS1 and GS2. Body rates on both stages look good. The E3U engines look good.
Everything looking good, looking nominal.
Seeing good TVC
And
and MR
Ariane, this
control
moment
on
coming up
GS2.
is an important one.
Trajectory
It is.
continues to look good.
We're going to relight the BE4 engines for the re-entry
Body rates
burn.
snowing out on GS1. The exo turn is complete.
There you go. It's about 300,000 feet, less than 100
6 minutes,
kilometers
30
up there,
seconds into
coming
flight.
in for a landing on the Jacqueline, 375 miles offshore, waiting for the first time to land
And
Blue
standing by for
Origin's
GS1
New Glenn
ignition
booster
shortly.
on the Jacqueline.
Continue to see body rates on GS1.
That looks great. We have our booster re-entry burn. All three engines.
No matter what happens next, we have had a good day. This is further than we made it on NG1.
That's right.
See indication of engine ignition on GS1. Continue to see good data from GS1.
About a minute and a
GS2
half
engine parameters look good.
is when we would see,
Confirm engine cutoff
never
on
tell me
GS1.
the odds, return to Earth.
You
7
see it in
minutes,
kind
40
of
seconds into
horizontal
flight.
position. We've got the strakes on the base of the booster, which give it lift. So we can basically fly this booster. Of course, we're using the forward fins as well, plus some of our reaction control system to, as well as the gimbling on the BE4 engines to turn the rocket accordingly. On here, it starts to tilt
GS1
down.
now halfway
1
in its
minute to
planned
go.
burn. GS1 systems,
Less than
GS2 systems
40,000
continue to look
feet.
good. GS2 throttle down complete. Responses look good. 8 minutes, 20 seconds from the flight. Standing by for landing burn ignition. And we have landing burn ignition. See 3 good engines.
We've got our booster landing burn.
Engine control looks good.
Of course those clouds are there.
8 minutes, 43 seconds. Legs deployed. Now down to
Great
engine
shot
burn.
from our booster.
Standing by for touchdown. Standing by for touchdown. Touchdown to the plane. continuing to work. Turn system looks good. Welcome back to the time.
We did it, or at least they did. Oh my goodness, look at the celebration there. This is so awesome. I'm in second of being able to be there in person and see it, just being able to be a part of the live feed as this New Glenn rocket launch took off. That was absolutely thrilling stuff. Of course, it was the stuff that was worth waiting for, if you will. If you think back, so I told you this is their third attempt since Sunday to get the Blue Origin New Glenn rocket launch to happen. On Sunday, they had a weather issue. They also had some technical issues. Yesterday, they had to delay the launch again to today because of the solar activity that was going on. But today, they were successful in launching their second New Glenn rocket from the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station there. This is the mission carrying NASA's Escapade payload to Mars for a tech demonstration of what they call low-cost interplanetary exploration. And as we were watching there, they were kind of talking through the different phases of that rocket launch. This rocket is also in the NASA Escapade mission. They are also flying a tech demonstration for Viasat. The objective here for the New Glenn, the second New Glenn flight, is to safely deploy that Escapade payload. And then, as we saw there, they were hoping that it would land on the first stage on a drone ship out in the Atlantic Ocean. This drone is, the drone ship is called the Jacqueline, and it landed. And when the smoke cleared, there it is right there. So wonderful to see, wonderful to be a part of, and for all of us to experience together. Awesome stuff today. 3:07, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. $3.10 right now. Let's do a couple of things here. Let me set the scene for what we're looking for in this 3 o'clock hour here. We have several different conversations that we've lined up. We know that in this hour, we're expecting to talk to Skydeck's general manager. This is pretty interesting. This is about their new opportunity for couples who have a baby on the way, for them to do a gender reveal at the Willis Tower. Awesome thing that they're going to provide for people who maybe want to do something very spectacular to announce or to find out really whether they're having a boy or a girl. Also, we're going to talk about gold prices that are soaring right now. We're going to bring in our multimedia reporter, Kaylee Schuyler, to talk a little bit about that. So many people have been looking at that gold bars and all things gold and the prices that are soaring right now. So we'll talk with her about that. She'll have a live report. We're also, and that's going to be from New York, we're going to delve deeper into a story that we watched earlier this week. We told you about earlier this week, and we brought in a state's attorney to tell us more about a lawsuit that was looking at a chiropractor, a local chiropractor, who is now in trouble for allegedly filming patients. There was like a room, what they called a red room, where patients would go in that room in various stages of undress really, and that there were allegations that people were being filmed in that, and this could date back many years. And so we heard from the state's attorney about how they were able to put this case together, but now we're hearing from the attorney of several of the people who have already come forward and been identified in some of these videos. We're going to delve deeper into that story as they're still looking for more people to come forward. But I want to start right now with the situation that happened on Tuesday. It was Veterans Day. The Governor J.B. Pritzker, was in Little Village to have a speech for Veterans Day. And when he finished that speech, he was getting ready to speak with reporters when a Chicago alderman confronted him. Now, maybe you couldn't hear all the words in that back and forth between the two of them, but what we do know at this point in time is that it appears that it was all over Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposal for to close the $1 million budget gap and this proposal for a head tax, a corporate head tax. Alderman Byron Cincho Lopez is joining me now to fill in the dots. Again, we weren't there. We weren't a part of the conversation, but you were. So first and foremost, just tell me how it all developed.
Yeah, thank you. I think that what you mentioned is accurate. We were in our annual event. I participate in our annual Veterans Day event in Manny Perez Plaza, and the governor, I think it's the first time he's joined us in this event. I think it was critical to have a united front, especially after the horrendous attack over the weekend and the last months in our community in Little Village. As we celebrated and we ended the program, the governor was about to go to respond to media questions. And in that travel, I, as an elected official, we have a responsibility to ask him questions about how our community is going to survive this moment when people are really literally not able to pay rent, not able to eat, not able to pay mortgage. And we need to work together to find solutions. So it was around taxing corporations or millionaires, and also about our constitutional rights and how the state police has also been brutalizing people at Broadview. So I had a few questions, and I was surprised to see people intervening and cutting that important conversation short. I'm not sure, maybe they didn't hear what the conversation was about, but to me, those are important conversations that the public most know.
Sure, important conversations, but do you think it was the right place to have that conversation?
Absolutely. This is a public plaza. Last time I checked, we should be able to ask our elected officials, especially as a governor, as an alderman. In fact, I find it problematic that I actually have to find him. I went to Springfield with a delegation of aldermen. He's come to my community multiple occasions without asking us what is going on the ground. I think as someone who's been on the ground and actually confronting ICE agents, I think actually it is more concerning that the governor is more interested in the cameras than actually listening to elected officials who are documenting and sending information to courts. I'm actually a plaintiff in many of these civil rights lawsuits, and I'm actually concerning about not charging corporations in a time where Trump wants violence and chaos in our city, and that we're using our state police to persecute protesters rather than asking them to ask for judicial warrants. I have every right to ask them that question.
Mm-hmm. In that moment, though, there was the state senator, Villanueva, and then also Alderman Rodriguez, who intervened. So obviously they felt very differently about it. Have you had conversations with them since?
I mean, I'm surprised I haven't seen Alderman Rodriguez in those budget hearings. I'm here in City Council. I'm not sure what Senator Villanueva put her hands on me. I was asking questions. I think there's some questions that you can ask him directly. But I do think it's problematic to criminalize brown people that are asking questions to a billionaire governor that have every responsibility to answer those questions. And he didn't have time at that moment, like any other elected official. He can tell his chief of staff or whoever that is to set up a time so that we can discuss. But one thing that we're not going to allow is politicians to get a pass just because the title they hold. I think that we have every right to ask questions as elected officials. My constituents demand to know what government is doing to protect them, and I make no apologies. I didn't put my hands on anyone, unlike other people, and I made very direct questions to the governor that I'm yet to hear the answer from.
And that was going to be my question to you. The next question: did you get any answers?
Well, I think that's suspect that was the reason why people put their hands on me and actually tried to interrupt me when they failed to answer the questions. And again, if they don't have the answers right now, I do think that we do have to have a follow-up. I do expect, because the governor said that, according to him, that I don't reach out to him. I reach out to him once again, and I hope to hear from him about how we're going to charge the millionaires, how we're going to charge corporations in a time when he said that he opposes the corporate head tax. My question was, what does he support? The progressive income tax has failed. We have a millionaire surcharge that was on the ballot that many people support. And I wanted to see his position, which he didn't answer. And I also want to know why constitutional rights, especially for freedom of speech, are only from 9 to 6 p.m. We cannot represent an alternative to a dictator when we are not behaving democratically and with direct answers. People expect solutions from elected officials, and I hope to hear from him soon.
So you regret nothing about that moment?
Not at all. And I think it's more problematic that I think the narrative is trying to criminalize a Latino representative, almost like make it look like I almost assaulted someone when I was the one person who was interrupted. People put hands on me, trying to kick me out after asking questions. That's not the democracy that we want. That is not acceptable. And I think that, it's important as elected officials, we rather work together, as I asked directly and specifically just watch the video, to those questions that many people, this is not only my community, many people across the city and across the state are asking the same questions. And I do think it's critical that we answer those questions, and we are governing not only on TikToks, but also in legislative bodies. I'm yet to see the governor using executive power. I'm yet to see him taxing millionaires and corporations, but I'm seeing him very vocal opposing the corporate head tax, opposing the millionaire tax. And I think it's critical that we represent working class people in this moment that are hardly making ends meet. We cannot pay insurance, we cannot pay for medical costs, people cannot make ends meet, cannot pay even for food. We can rent, mortgage, and I do think that we have a responsibility to go from the rhetoric to the practice.
Sure. He says absolutely foursquare that he is opposed to a head tax for the city of Chicago. And he argued that that type of tax, even on the wealthiest corporations in the city, then penalizes the very thing that you want in the end. And so I guess the question would be, did you burn a bridge in your attempt to maybe get some answers because of how it all played out, especially online, but how it all played out? Did you burn a bridge and maybe somebody that you may need in the end?
Well, I surely hope that the governor is not behaving as an authoritarian elected. I do think it's important. I think by looking at the video, it was actually inappropriate not to answer those questions, to dismiss an elected official that was on the ground helping people. Well, these mercenaries were terrorizing us. And I think the community of Little Village that confronted Bobino and his mercenaries, that has been victims of attacks and assaults, including minors, and there are difficulties to even go to to work, to go to school, to go to hospitals, to churches even. It is a call for action. I do find that it would be very problematic that the governor cuts lines of communications, which I think that I have not heard from the governor's office before then. I had to come to a meeting. I had to come up to an event to ask him a question. And if we're in our country in a place where we cannot even make questions, and then that asking a questions constitute a possibility of being singled out or isolated, I do think that would be very problematic. I think that the governor, I can tell from what I saw, stopped and wanted to talk to me. I don't know what the other elected officials heard, and I don't know what they were rushed, but those are very valid questions that need answers, and I hope to hear from him soon. He said that he is always open to talk. I'm making yet another public call for him to discuss these very important issues for a community that is being assaulted and traumatized and needs help, doesn't need more isolation. Our community has been the scapegoat of this tyrant, and I think in our city, in our state, I think, and I talk for the vast majority of Chicagoans and people in Illinois, demand solutions to the issue of inflation, poverty, unemployment, and the public access to healthcare. Does not benefits of many others, and I think that we're committed to do that. And I think that the governor has said that he's also committed to this. So I don't see why not, and I don't see why we should have a disagreement for asking questions. I think that the governor and all elected officials should be committed to address the issues of our city and state.
Alderman Cicho Lopez, obviously working together would be beneficial to all, for sure. I do want to ask you, you're the 25th Ward Alderman. Do you have higher aspirations?
Well, we'll see. I think that in my community, what we do not want is, I think, again, and perhaps that was what caused the conflict. I know that there has been an anointment in the 4th Congressional District, and we challenge kings and bosses. We don't want no kings. We don't want no bosses. We need representation. We need elected officials who are here to listen to our constituents, to all constituents, independent on the skin color. Another tyrant does not even see us as human beings in our community. And I do expect more from our governor, who, at least in what I see in the social media, says that he is a strong advocate of immigrant communities. And in the 4th Congressional District, I think there's an open seat for what I can see. And I think that we do not agree with an appointment or an anointment. And yes, I think that we'll maybe considering an independent run for Congress. And I think that is because of this constant dismissal of our issues and always being having to accept anointments in a time where community needs representation, and we need a united working class community fighting against the only minority destroying our country, the billionaire class.
So you are saying you are looking at running as an independent for Chuy Garcia's seat that he is vacating. He had a chief of staff that is running as the Democrat. So you're looking at running as an independent against her.
We're exploring that possibility, especially given all the events, the mistreatment, and the persecution, the racial profiling of our community. I think what we need in this moment is advocacy, and we don't need anointments. And worse, we don't need to be threatened with being isolated just because we ask questions. It's critical that we need a voice, and we need someone who advocates in our 4th Congressional District. And I have said this is not new. This has been for a few weeks. We need to have representation in a district where our community is being literally starving, while the tyrant is paying bonuses to these mercenaries to come and harass us.
So let me just ask you this, because of course a lot of this has played out online. What do you say to people who say that this was a political stunt?
The political stunts are for those who come to our community to the cameras or the pictures, but they do not appear when the ICE agents come to kidnap children, when they come and persecute communities like mine, when we see sexual predators and human trafficking happening in our own eyes, and our communities that are in concentration camps, our communities that are literally disappearing. Many of them are dying in ICE custody, and what we see is lip service. Being a consistent advocate of my community way before I was alderman, and I will continue to advocate for my community wherever I am. I do think for those who come to take photos but do not appear on the ground when it's needed or refuse conversations, I do think, those seem to be shenanigans for the cameras. For us, we have been always on the side of our community, on the ground, asking questions and looking for allies to fight fascism and to fight dictators that are attacking all working people throughout the country.
25th Ward Alderman Byron Cicho Lopez, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and please keep us up to date as to your decision on Chuy Garcia's congressional seat.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. 3:25 right now, everyone. And we have also talked about, I told you, we had a conversation about gold prices soaring that was coming up. Let's go ahead and bring in our multimedia reporter in New York, Kaylee Schuyler, who is standing by to tell us a little bit about where things stand at this point. Kaylee.
A block away from a bunch of jewelry stores known as the Diamond District, and it is full of people window shopping, looking for deals. And nowadays a lot of people are eyeing gold because many believe it maintains its value better in the long run than cash, especially in times of economic uncertainty caused by things like President Trump's tariffs and the recent government shutdown. So we are seeing some crazy prices right now. And to put it into perspective, the metal was trading at around $2,000 per ounce at the start of last year. By this October, gold had reached its highest level ever at around $4,300 per ounce. And today it's pretty close to that, with a record, close to the record high at around $4,200 per ounce. And analysts believe that gold will continue to climb in value. I spoke with one of the businesses, Ross Metals, over here at the Diamond District, and they said right now it's tough for business. They're trying to figure out how to navigate some of these price hikes. So they say to help their customers out right now, actually what they're doing is they're starting to make more semi-solid chains, so as opposed to solid chains, because a lot of their items are sold by weight. So the VP of operations told me when you feel a gold chain, the heavier, the more expensive. So now things are a little bit lighter, but it's still the same look. So people wouldn't know necessarily that it might be a little cheaper with the prices. But again, a lot of analysts think prices are going to continue to go up. JP Morgan is predicting gold prices will reach an average of more than $5,000 per ounce by the end of 2026.
Wow. And of course, the fear would be that they would end up having to pass that on to consumers at some point.
Absolutely. And so that's what Ian Ross, he's the VP of operations at Ross Metals, he says right now they're really trying to figure out, this is an unprecedented time. So they're having customers coming in wanting to sell their gold, and that's great for them. But for on the back end, when they're also buying and having customers come in wanting to buy some of their gold that they've already made, a lot of them aren't liking the price tag right now. But again, with prices going up, it still could be a good time to buy into gold because you could make some more money here just even in the next year.
Does that tie into like where we saw gold bars being sold at Costco?
I actually forgot about that, Anita. Yes, absolutely. So one thing I thought was kind of interesting, though, is Ian Ross, he was telling me that, yes, when you think of gold and the value, you think of the gold bars, you think of the gold coins. But now some people are even just buying gold chains because it's an investment, but also it's something you can wear and kind of show off. So if that's something you're into, you could do that. So some people are just buying chains as investment, but also gold bars.
Kaylee Schuyler, thank you so much. Lots to consider as we go into the holiday months. All right, and she's reporting from New York. It's 3:28. Let's take a quick break and get back with more of Chicago Live. Welcome back, everyone. 3:31 right now, and according to the Batavia Police Department and the Kane County State's Attorney's Office, Dr. David Hansen, a chiropractor in Kane County, has been charged following the discovery of secret recordings involving at least 180 patients. It is quite shocking, extremely disturbing, and I want to bring in Peter Flowers of Myers and Flowers, who have now filed their first lawsuit against this Batavia chiropractor accused of secretly recording patients. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
How many people have come to you already of these 180 that they have so far? And the last time we spoke with the Kane County State's Attorney, she was requesting more people to come forward because they don't know how long this was going on. So how many people have already come to you?
Right. There's been well over 100 that have already come to us.
Wow.
And frankly, we're getting calls from all kinds of people in the community asking if they were part of this. I mean, the likelihood of this having been going on for years, maybe even since 2017, is extremely disturbing and shocking.
It really is, and I feel horrible for all of the people who even have to think through whether it may have been them. But for this first lawsuit, what are the allegations?
Well, the allegations are not only this defendant, and I refuse to refer to him by his name, this defendant installed a camera and secretly recorded, shockingly, a pregnant woman getting treatment. That recording was used for hundreds, if not, we assume there's going to be eventually 1,000 or more people that are going to come out that he was involved with. It's him, it's his clinic, it's the whole situation in Batavia. It's him, he's the perpetrator, but it's also the clinic that didn't stop this.
It's mind-boggling just to consider. So for this particular victim, what was their frame of mind coming to you and hearing of what could possibly have happened to them?
Frankly, they were absolutely disgusted and shocked and feel betrayed. This is someone they've gone to for a while, referred other people to, family members, and really can't believe that this would happen in Batavia.
Yeah.
Just goes to show you it can happen anywhere, that this lewd, disgusting individual existed in a quiet community and convinced the entire community to trust him.
Yeah, that's one of the worst parts about it, is just the aspect of how many people put their trust in this person. So of the people that you represent, do we know that they were on the camera, or do they just suspect?
Many of them know that they were on the camera, and then there's many that suspect they're on the camera. We have not seen the video, so we don't know, but we have complete faith in the state's attorney of Kane County to handle the situation. But yeah, I mean, it's basically the entire community coming out and saying, was I unfortunately one of these people that had this happen to me? And then, the depression, the loss of trust, the change in their lives. This is more than just adults. This is children as well.
Yeah. And we don't know, do we, what happened with these potential videos?
We do not. We do not know if he sent them elsewhere or what exactly he did with them. And that's a very scary situation.
It really is. Or even if there were other people working in cahoots with him.
Right. And we intend civilly to get to the bottom of this. I know the state's attorney will criminally get to the bottom of this and really hold this person accountable for one of the most violated trusts that I've ever seen in 32 years as a lawyer. This is just so deeply disturbing and disgusting.
It really is. So what are you all seeking?
Well, we're seeking what the civil system allows, which are monetary damages, but our ultimate goal is to make sure that his place is closed down forever, that anybody involved in this, not only including him, be held accountable, and that his clinic be closed forever.
What are your hopes if this case becomes a model moving forward? What are your hopes that of the message that it sends?
Well, It's one thing to have some despicable human being to do this, but as an employee of these clinics, you have a responsibility as well. If you have any inkling that something like this is going on, I mean, we really want to bring to light the idea that this happens anywhere and everywhere, and everyone needs to be on the lookout, and everybody needs to make sure that they speak up as soon as they suspect anything. I mean, when you think that this maybe went on for 8 years, it's hard to believe that no one else had any idea of what was going on.
Does the criminal case have to proceed and him being convicted before the civil suit can move through?
No, we can go forward with the civil suit at the same time. There are some technicalities that need to be dealt with, but both civil and criminal can proceed at the same time.
Tell me how that works if they don't know that the person actually is found guilty of doing what they're alleged to do.
Well, you don't have to be found guilty in the criminal system to be responsible in the civil world. So it's two different standards. So the civil case can proceed forward as long as we're able to prove what we know is true. The criminal case is a higher standard that they have to satisfy. So it's two different standards, really.
Sure, but if in the end he's found not guilty, would he then have a countersuit?
No. First of all, he'll never be found not guilty. But second of all is the criminal system and civil system are completely separated. So whatever occurs in the criminal system won't necessarily impact the civil system.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you said over 100 people have come to you thus far, and you really believe that overall this could end up being 1,000 or more people. Talk a little bit more about that aspect of the fact that so many people now are going through this in that area.
Yeah, I mean, Batavia is a beautiful small town on a river. With all walks of life. This has affected every walk of life, and really what's going to need to happen is we're going to have to help people heal from this horrible process. Really, the whole community heal, because this has affected literally every walk of life in Batavia and the surrounding area, every age. So the goal, like I said, is not only to make sure that his facility never sees the day of light and obtain any monetary damages we possibly can, but it's also to help people eventually heal and go through the trauma and get the treatment they need.
And so is his facility still open right now?
It's closed, but we're going to make sure that it's permanently closed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. And you said 32 years that you've been in practice. You've never seen anything like this. Where would this kind of rise in terms of the worst cases that you have seen?
The magnitude of this, and I've handled cases throughout the country, all kinds of very sad cases, but the pure magnitude of this, that it has occurred for potentially 8+ years, affecting thousands of people in a person who was respected in the community. This is deeply disturbing to me as a lawyer.
Yeah. Has he had a hearing to plead?
He had initial arraignment, and I think his criminal case is up again in early January.
Okay. And so we don't know whether he pled guilty or not guilty?
No one ever pleads guilty at the beginning, so I assume he's pled not guilty, and we'll see where things go from there.
Okay. Is there a message that you want to send to other people who may not have come forward yet?
Yeah, I mean, as a community, we're encouraging everyone to come forward and heal together. This is affecting people in different ways, and sometimes the best way to deal with trauma like this is as a group. Everyone together heal together, because people from the outside don't know what they're going through. Sometimes it's best to talk to other people that this happened to as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that people will find the healing that they are seeking so desperately. And I want to put out there that the Kane County, because if you weren't here with us when we interviewed the Kane County State's Attorney, they do have a victim line and an email. The email address is SAOVICTIMS victim hotline at kanecountyil.gov, or the number would be 630-444-3322 if you believe that you or your child may have been a victim of this chiropractor there in Batavia. Please reach out and get the help that you need. All right. Thank you so much for joining me and for being a part of this discussion, Attorney Flowers. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please keep us updated. It's 3:42. We'll be right back. $344. Oh, look at that. Isn't it beautiful? I don't care what picture of our city we take. It's always gorgeous. But that sky might mean a little something different to people in just a few weeks here. Skydeck Chicago at Willis Tower now, giving people a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I want to bring in Skydeck's General Manager, Randy Stanchik, to tell me about what you all are offering couples who are expecting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. We have a unique opportunity being at the top of the city to do a gender reveal contest with our antenna colors. We light our antenna colors, many different colors throughout the year. It's a lot of fun for us, but we thought let's make it personal. We give couples the chance to pick their color, pink or blue, and what we're looking to do is to basically, you go to our Instagram page at Skydeck at Chicago, go to our Instagram bio, click your entry, and we're going to raffle it off on the 24th of November, with the winner getting it on the 25th. They'll have 6 months to find a date based on availability, and we'll be able to broadcast it from the top with the beautiful blue or the beautiful pink or both colors if they're expecting twins of different sexes. Really have some fun with this and see it for up to 50 miles from the top of the tower.
So is it just for one couple, one lucky couple, or are you going to do it for multiple couples?
One lucky couple. You know, we have a pretty full schedule throughout the year, and we love being the city's cheerleader. We love being able to broadcast, whether it's sporting events, charitable causes, but the calendar's pretty full, and we're going to start out with one lucky winner, and then hopefully they'll do it with a great vantage point of the tower, which there are all over the city. And we thought, really, let's connect a little bit more with everyone in the city.
Absolutely. I think this is awesome. I can't wait for it to happen. So the entries are open now, right?
Absolutely. They're open now. And we're getting quite a few, and we'll take them all the way through the 24th with the winner picked on the 25th.
Are there any other details that, people could misunderstand or not know about?
The contest is straightforward. Skydeck is a pretty romantic place. People come on their dates. They start, up to dates with maybe a dinner here. They could get engaged here. We do a lot of wedding proposals. And now, of course, this could be a byproduct of all that, too. So we're really having some fun working through it. It's a very simple, straightforward contest. The skydeck.com will have some information, but also Instagram, Skydeck Chicago's Instagram page. Basically hit the Instagram bio page, drop your entry in, and we'll let you know if you won on the 25th.
Okay, I have a techie over here who has lots of questions about the bulbs or even how you're able to light them up.
It used to be a very manual process. It took our electricians two electricians about 4 hours to replace these very huge theatrical gels over what would be almost like the bat signal. You'd put them on, you'd clamp them on. They'd have to go out there in all different weather conditions. Put them on there. We're now on an LED system. This is great. It's on our desktop here in the office, and we're able to work a variety of colors. You'll see the static colors. You'll see the dynamic movement between the two antenna. It looks a little different from different spots, even like some of the colors look different when you're looking at it from other angles. But then we have that motion element too. So we have a lot of fun with them, a lot of great causes. And a lot of people ask me, what's it for tonight? And the skydeck.com has that listed on the top. Tonight's antenna colors are blank in honor of blank. It's really a great thing. And again, we love broadcasting out. And if you can see the top of the antenna, like most people can from the city, it senses a lot of pride in us, and we're very, very happy to do this.
I've definitely been one of those wanderers before, like, what are those colors for? Okay, so now I'm going to have to go on the website and look at that list there. What colors are they currently for tonight?
I believe that they're set up for red and blue. I have to double check that, but I think this is something that's exciting for us, and we can change them based on different requests we get from places at the city, charitable causes, and everything else.
Yeah, and so the red and blue would be for like a carryover from Veterans Day?
I believe that it's still set for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And you have the 10th annual Love on the Ledge. Tell me about some other things going on.
Yeah, we have some really great stuff happening. We opened up our Love on the Ledge contest. It'll be our 10th annual, as you mentioned. We give lucky listeners the chance to actually, our guests can come in and they can basically do a vow renewal or get married. We provide everything down to the pastor, to the music, to the venue, to the champagne, to the overnight before that. We picked 4 lucky couples. We put out a solicitation for love, and we start getting them come in. There's some really heartwarming stories that come in. There's a lot of people who have a lot of connections to the tower. That's not a requirement, but really you start to see what this place means, the tower means to people, and through their stories. And then, of course, you get to see it on February 9th when we do the ceremonies before we open on that weekend of Valentine's Day.
Oh, my goodness.
It's incredible. It's very heartwarming. You see this. We have a lot of great couples that give us stories after the fact. And it's an honor to be a part of that.
Tell me some of the stories from years past.
Well, we've had people who had first dates here. That's a pretty common one. The first dates that came here. We've had a few people in the last few years that will do online dates that come here as well. We've had people who have been deployed in the military, who Chicago was their home. We've had people where Chicago has been their middle point for a lot of folks. Just some great stories over the years that warm your heart. Some folks that had children before and they never got around to having the formal ceremony or any ceremony for that matter. So they'll bring their kids back to the ceremony. So it goes on and on and on, but it's really heartwarming, and we're expecting to see a slew of great stories again.
Yeah.
This year.
Do you get some people who are doing it as they're overcoming the fear of heights?
And that's typical. When you get on the ledge, you take a couple steps on, and again, the ledge had been engineered for over 1.5 years, and it's just not natural. We built it to be experiential, which means we removed a lot of the steel that looks like it should have been support, but it's totally supported. It's just hidden. They're a little hesitant sometimes. They don't want to necessarily go out there, but they do wind up going out there, and they're glad they did it in most situations.
I'm telling you, I came up to Skydeck when my family came in town, and I was all aboard. Like, let's do the ledge together as a family activity, and everyone else was like, you can. Not us.
We built it. You know, when I get to the top of the roller coaster, I say every bad word on the way down. I think it's the worst idea in the world. You can't change your mind. Here, you're in control the whole time. You take a couple steps on, you can do a handstand, you can sit. The most popular shot lately has been to sit. You look back with your legs up on the glass. You can jump on it. You can do different things. But again, we're getting into romance season right now too. So a lot of people will drop down to the knee. We capture the photos and off they go with a really nice memory.
Yeah, one of my favorite videos from the ledge was the Bears rookies a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Hard Knocks, they came through. That was really great. And we had the Chicago White Sox up here as well in April. A few of the players, one player said that he was just in awe of the city from being up that high. But, you know, they basically had 2 stop signs in town and was just starstruck by the amount of the skyline, how far we go. You know, you can see up from miles and miles and miles from the top here. And I think that was just overwhelming for that person. And other people are like, I don't understand what this is. I don't know why anybody would do this. Other people can't wait to do it. They're doing the handstand. They're all fired up. They're getting all different crazy poses. And again, when we built it, we didn't build it with Instagram in mind, but it's one of the top Instagram places in the state. And we reap the benefits, and our guests get to have great opportunities to be creative.
Yeah, those Bears rookies, you know, they're like so uber masculine, and then they got up there, and the pitch, I'm not sure if they've ever reached in their voice that they made.
It's not a natural experience. You know, you weren't raised to step out of a perfectly fine skyscraper, let alone one of the tallest ones in the year. When I'm on it, I know everything about the project. My knees are still buckled a little bit, and I don't exactly know why, but it's all part of the experience.
How many times have you gone out on it?
I'm out there almost every day. So it's been a long time and a lot of great memories. And what really is exciting is just watching the guests' reactions to it. And you can do it. It's very voyeuristic. You can look from one ledge to the other, and a lot of times they don't even know you're there because they're so focused on their view, their experience. It's there. And
their life.
It's everything from excitement to happiness to romance to bewilderment to I don't even know what's going on right now. Those are good. We want you to have emotions when you come to the Sky Deck and really feel things.
Absolutely. And then you all are doing your holiday decor. Tell me a little bit about that before we go.
Oh, thank you. We were literally setting up this morning and last night for holidays at the Sky Deck. This will be our inaugural year. We are taking things to another level. We have a museum, a Sky Deck world-class museum that stands on its own downstairs. We are transforming that into a little bit of a holiday wonderland with great decor, activations, surprise delights, really a good feel and vibe of the holidays. And then when you get up top, the views are spectacular. We have additional surprises. We've woven in some live entertainment. We have fitness classes with the holiday theme. We've got different music and live music and Santas and selfies with Santa. We really wanted to think over a 6-week period. What can we do to become a holiday tradition for a lot of people in the Chicagoland area? So, and I think we're going to nail it based on what I saw this morning.
Yeah, what is a brainstorming session like for you all? What are the things that you're trying to come up with from an experiential standpoint for the people who come out?
We want to be memorable, and whether they're from 606 whatever or they're from Bolivia, we want people to leave taking things with them, not just a check, this is something I did, which maybe a lot of places were how many years ago. That's not us. We're really looking from everything from our people to our experiences to our products. You make memories, and you're going to remember who you're doing it with. And if you're only with us for an hour or two, we want to be impactful. So that is really the focus of what in our meetings that we really look to is where can we make a memory? And that memory could be as simple as a picture. It could be a great backdrop for things. It could be just the feel while you're here. But that's really, it's a focus that we're never going to stop working on. And I think it shows, and we get great reviews. I think we're number 5 in the 1,600 things to do in TripAdvisor. And we don't lean on that. We want to get to the top spot. So this is really the focus, become experiential. And even if the local people in Chicagoland, if you came here on a 2nd grade field trip, we're a different place. This is a place you're going to come, and people come from all over the world to see, and it's right in your backyard. It's a quick Metro CTA train, any kind of ride downtown. Come see us. Come from the city, pop in off the CTA. We're not going to disappoint you.
And how many people have come out thus far? I'm sure you all have some kind of running total.
Yeah, we're probably going to do close to 1.3 million people this year, which puts us in the top, I think, 2 or 3 in the city of Chicago. We really changed things, though. We put it on a time-based ticketing system, so we regulate the flow. We used to have the lines of the past of waiting to get to the top aren't here anymore. Basically, your queue is through the museum. You work your way to the top, and you're gonna have great memory, as I said, if you're from the city, suburbs, or from another country. It's really fun. This is a sense of pride for us. This isn't necessarily just a gig for a lot of us. This is something we know we represent the city from the antenna up top all the way down to the museum on the bottom. We're going to take great care of you.
Well, thank you again so much for popping in to tell us a little bit about this gender reveal that you all are getting ready to do for people and for everyone who is watching and listening. Remember, those entries are open right now until November 24th if you want to be a part of this opportunity and maybe be the lucky couple that's chosen. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care, and we'll be right back.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at 4.
Right now at 4, federal agents